After doing a lot of interim pastorates in retirement, primarily in North Carolina and in Canada, I finally came to live with grandchildren near them, the grandchildren in Wilmington. And we started, as Father Mike would say, on the Canterbury Trail. But the church in Wilmington was large and I knew very few people. So while I enjoyed the church and the services and the choir, I didn't really feel like it was home. And then Peter moved to Lenoir and began his practice here. We, of course, came, and I remember Sunday morning, we went to St. James. And from the very moment we entered St. James, I knew it was going to be our church home. Ray Williams and his family soon joined us. And through the years, we came to know and to love Father Mike and the congregation. And as you know, I'm handicapped, and consequently, I don't get out very much. Sunday morning is the big event of my life. And I get to go to church and see my church family and see all of the people enjoy the sermon and especially the communion. When the congregation starts up the communion, a great many people hit me on the shoulder or speak to me as they return. And I have the Charlie Fry's daughter, Renaissance, always stop and speak to me. And you really believe it when I say that little children warms your heart. Soon after that, I came to really appreciate the church primarily through Betty and her interest in the church. She had never been a joiner, but I was sort of surprised when she became immediately active in the church. Chairman of several committees and on the vestry and doing things that she must enjoy because she comes home and repeats them all to me. We have a kind of a ritual on Sunday morning that we go through in church. She has the check prepared and passes it over to me, and I put it in my shirt pocket, later to drop it in the collection plate. And we have the satisfaction that in our own way we support and express our love for the congregation and the church. Father Mike comes down and he calls me his brother. And that makes communion especially good for me. The Eucharist meal is not just a part of the service, it is a part of my week and a part of the ministry of St. James. Whether we are serving a congregation, enjoying the potluck meal on one Sunday morning a month, or whether we are serving the hungry when they come to join us in the church, or whether we are simply meeting together to talk about the church and its future and our small part in it. It is our church home, and it always makes us happy.
Jim, what do you value at St. James and why do you support it?
Well, the several things. The inclusiveness that we have and the open atmosphere, I think is really neat. The diversity, I certainly celebrate that. Willingness of everybody to explore new ideas. The transparency in the financial matters, I think that's a really important thing. And the traditional services, all of those things are great value.
I value St. James because it's a place for me to worship. I'm a lifelong Episcopalian. I've been a member of St. James for the 17 years that we've been in North Carolina, and it's a comfortable place for me. People are willing to try some new things, and I appreciate that. And I think the congregation as a whole tries to practice what it's preached here.
What touches your heart about our parish?
Well, the fact that they're so accepting. I really like that, and the feeling that we're a family. That means a lot to me, and the willingness to reach out to other people. And I want to say that when I was growing up, my dad's job caused us to move a number of times, and then I had a career in the Navy, so I've been on the move, and I was counting up, I've been associated with at least 17 churches, and I have never found a church that they were all nice, and everybody was friendly, but I've never found a church like St. James. And I wonder if everybody really appreciates that. It's just great.
The altar, it's just when you walk in the altar, just, it's like amazement. And the church services are meaningful to me, using the prayer book and the Episcopal way of doing things, and having our Eucharist each Sunday just makes my week better.
I hope that St. James will continue to grow and to prosper and to demonstrate Christian love to everybody in our community that we come in contact with.
My greatest hope is that St. James continues to grow and be steadfast and continues to reach out to all those in need.
One of my greatest joys and excitements about the church and what's upcoming is I love the fact that the children's programs are becoming reinvigorated, I guess, and I'm excited to be a part of that. I hadn't had the energy to be a part of it for a while, and I do now, and I'm hoping that if I can be a part of that, that I can add to my involvement with the church and in its future. And then my children can experience the same thing that I did. I also am very hopeful for the outreach ministries that I am seeing that's coming out of the church, and I am excited for the possibilities of what we as a church can do within our community.
What do you celebrate about our fellowship and ministry?
Well, celebrate a couple of things. The relevant services that Mike and Melissa preach, and the thought-provoking topics in the adult forum that we have.
I celebrate the opportunities and the willingness of everyone to step up to the plate when they're asked to do something, and the friendliness of our church is just amazing. And I think just being an Episcopalian is just the most wonderful thing.
I think it goes back more for me from when I was a child. I grew up in a very, very active church. It was a very large church and a large Baptist church, and but we were very active in it. And I think growing up in that church and feeling the support and that it was a family for me was wonderful, and I can't imagine having anything without that experience, especially with the fact I lost my little brother when I was 21, and I'll never forget the grief that the church felt with us, and then they celebrated our other joys, my sister's marriage, my marriage, the births of our babies with us, but when my brother died, I remember that it was this time of the year, and it was corn harvesting time. My father had a farm, and it was time for the corn to come out, and so the entire church, without us knowing it, went out and harvested the corn. And I've always thought of that as a very special symbol, I guess, of what church means to me. And I wasn't sure that I would find it again. And when we came to St. James, it took us several years to finally kind of become enmeshed here, but once we did, I think my husband, my kids are starting to actually feel that, you know, if we had a cornfield, that it would be harvested for us. And I have already felt the joys being celebrated together. And I've already felt some grief, and have been able to come straight to the church and say, I need some help with this. And so I feel like we're home.